grab your lucky charms, and try and find my pot of gold. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this special episode of Beware the Board, a horror podcast where we watch a randomly selected horror movie every single week. I'm Bob.
And I'm Ben.
Ooh, God. I don't know what that's going to sound like.
Who's ready to drink?
Oh, God. Not again, Ben. Not again. Last time we drank, it didn't go so well. For those of you that have been listening for a long time, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you that haven't, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Hey, everybody. It's St. Patrick's Day, so we're drinking and watching a green-themed movie, because I don't know anything about St. Patrick's Day other than it's green.
Yeah, green movies.
Green movie.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. What day is St. Patrick's Day? I don't actually know the date.
The 17th.
Wow.
This year. I think it's like a certain, you know how some holidays it's like the 4th blah 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 of the month. It's one of those, I think.
thought it was always the 17th.
I don't fucking know. Can I be honest, Ben? And this is, I'm being not abstract. I'm being very clear to the audience. We forgot about this holiday till the last minute.
Oh, yeah, if the McPherson outtake sounds a little scuffed,
The outro?
and I say I hate Bob on it,
Yeah.
that was because Bob was like, oh, we need to re-record it. I don't want people to be confused.
Well, we had to
Fuck you,
re-record it
bitch.
because we didn't tell them this was happening.
That's the whole point of having announcements on, like, Twitter. So I don't have to
You
re-record
think I announce these things on Twitter?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
That's your job.
I don't get paid.
There you go. We bought Guinness. Bob's
We-
never had it.
Ben bought Guinness.
I do everything around here.
Everything you fucking head ass?
Everything. I do all the editing. I cook. I clean.
You've not cooked or cleaned in my house a single time. I wish you would, though. That'd make my life a little easier.
Not the best
Oh, my
way.
God.
It's good, right?
That's so much better than normal beer.
Oh, I know. It's so
I can
good.
actually drink this.
It's so good. And let me be honest. From the bottle, because we had to get it from the bottle. I poured it into glasses. Don't worry. It's not the best way to drink it. When you get it from like a bar, the header on it's huge and it's super smooth.
That's normally when I drink beer, I don't have a good time because I don't like beer that much. I could actually drink this. The only beer I've had that's good is when we had that Moose Head on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Last year.
No, Guinness is a good starter beer. It's so smooth.
No, this is like normally I have like a weird bad aftertaste in the back of my throat. This one, nah, it's good.
Yeah, and compared to most other like stouts, it's pretty light. It's not like super heavy. I like it. And it's everywhere, so you can get it at like most bars.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Anyways, I've already discussed with Bob what we're doing today.
No, bro. You can't do this to me.
You ready for some Leprechaun 2?
We're not watching Leprechaun 2. I swear to God. I messaged Ben sometime this week before we recorded this and said, hey, we both forgot about St. Patrick's Day. Are we doing an episode? And Ben said, if I show up and say we're recording one, we're recording. And I went, okay. He was like, if I can find something other than Leprechaun 2. So please, for the love of God, tell me you weren't a liar.
Oh, no, I did find something other than Leprechaun 2. But, hear me out.
Don't say it.
We could
Stop.
just watch Leprechaun 2.
No! Wait, well, okay, what is Leprechaun 2? Is it just called Leprechaun 2?
I think it's Leprechaun 2.
There's nothing special about this one? It's not like a fun one? Like Leprechaun in Space or something?
No, those are later ones. I think Leprechaun 2 is just Leprechaun 2. That's the one in L.A.
Oh, he's in L.A. now. I don't want to watch Leprechaun 2.
No, that's great, because I don't want to watch it either.
So we're not doing
So
that.
we're not doing that yet.
Oh, boy. Thank God. Thank Christ.
I thought for St. Patrick's Day, it would make sense to do Irish horror movies.
Oh, see, now this is a good idea, Ben.
The only problem is that makes it harder to cover that category eventually. But
Sure.
whatever. It'll be fun. So today, we're watching Grabbers from 2012.
Hold on. This movie's called Grabbers?
Grabbers.
I don't like that. I don't want to get grabbed.
Well, no one's going to grab you, Bob. It's fine.
Ah, thank God. I'm much too old to be grabbed.
That was
Much
not-
too old and much too big.
That is a joke. I mean, you're not wrong, but ooh,
What?
Description. What's an Irishman to do when threatened by life beyond his understanding?
What the fuck?
I don't know. What,
I don't know either, brother.
What's he supposed to do with himself?
Drink? Like us, right now.
Drinking is always a solution. I'm
I
not saying
wouldn't
it's
say solution.
Oh no, it's always a solution. I'm not saying it's a good solution,
Solution?
but it is a solution to your problems.
Maybe if you don't want to remember them.
Exactly, a solution. Not
Fair.
a good solution. But it's an hour and 34 minutes long,
Okay.
so it's not super long. It's not rated.
Oh, God.
Always great. IMDb gave it a 6.3 out of 10.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Tomato meter gave it a 70%.
Wow.
And an audience score of 51%.
Look, we're looking up from Leprechaun last year, brother.
Oh, yeah. Everything's looking up from Leprechaun. That
Well,
movie's garbage.
He's very short.
Awards, 4 wins and 11 nominations.
Whoa.
Pretty decent. Notable actors. Richard Coyle as Garda Sieran O'Shea. Played Tuss in Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Prince of Persia?
Nope.
Have you played the games?
Nope.
Oh, that's okay.
I've heard they're not great.
The games or the movie?
Both.
Well, the movie's definitely not great.
I've heard the games are okay.
The movie kind of reminds me of The Mummy,
Yeah, but not as good.
but not The Mummy with The Mummy, but The Mummy with The Rock.
Oh, Lord.
That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Or old Scorpion King.
Oof.
Ruth Bradley as Garda Lisa Nolan. She played Laura in Flyboys. Russell Tovey as Dr. Smith. Played Stephen in The Good Liar. Layla Roddy as Patty Barrett. Played William in Hunger. David Pierce as Brian Mayer. Played the priest in The Banshees of Inisherin.
I've heard that movie's really good.
It's supposed to be very good. I haven't seen it
Is it a
yet.
horror movie?
Yeah, it's supposed to be really good, though.
Hell yeah.
If we ever do, like, Irish horror, I've been saving some stuff.
Sick.
I was actually a little bit iffy about doing St. Patty's Day this year because I was like, I'm going to be eating through those movies. Because this probably would have gone into Irish horror.
Really?
Yeah. Bronagh Gallagher as Una Mayer. Played Trudy in Pulp Fiction. Pascal Scott as Dr. Jim Gleason. Played Patty the Postman and Last Chance Harvey. Ned Dennehy as Declan Cooney. Played Brother Swan in Mandy. He's been on a bunch of stuff. But Mandy's how I'm familiar with him.
We haven't seen Mandy yet.
I love Mandy.
I was about to say, you really like that film. I've also just heard it's very good.
Well, I love our Lord and Savior Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, of course.
I think he's great. He's particularly, and I've had this rant before, but Nicolas Cage is one of those actors where he has a very, very distinct acting style.
Oh, for sure.
And if used incorrectly, it's laughably bad. Like, it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can, like, pair him up with a good script and something he's, like, passionate about,
Yeah.
because it's a distinct acting style, it works so well.
I mean, there's that movie that's just about him. What is it? The
The-
Unbearable Weight of...
Massive Talent.
Yeah, or whatever.
That movie is so fucking funny.
I've heard that movie's really good.
And it's even funnier because, like, every other line is a reference to Nicolas Cage, like, film. So if you're a big Nicolas Cage fan, it is amazing. But, if you pair him with a good script, he's great. And he's been doing a lot of horror films recently.
Yeah.
And his acting style actually works pretty well for horror because, like, it's vaguely unhinged. And if you give him a character that's vaguely unhinged, either naturally or due to circumstances, it works really well. And Mandy's just a wild movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's been on a lot of good horror stuff recently. But, yeah, Mandy's great. Clelia Murphy as Irene Murphy. She played Rose in JFK, The Badgeman Conspiracy. Louise Dempsey as Toddig Murphy. He played Haskell Moore's Diner Guest number 3, as well as Jarvis Hawkins in Cloud Atlas.
Haven't seen that.
I think we've talked about that before.
We have talked about that, but
that
I've still
movie's
not seen it.
great.
You said that.
It is a epic, though. Like, it is 3 hours long.
Oh.
Like, it is a long movie, and it feels long. Like, I had a great time watching it, but I was like, oh, my God.
I've
It's
been
still
here
going.
for 7 days. It's
Yeah.
been a week.
It was like, I'm enjoying myself a lot, but I was like, oh, my God. Stuart Graham as Skipper. Played Raymond Lohan in Hunger. And then finally, Nick Chopping as Dally. He actually did stunts on a bunch of big features,
Oh, that's
including
cool.
Skyfall.
Oh, I haven't seen that either, but I know what you're talking about.
It's a James Bond movie.
We've
You
talked
haven't
about
seen
this.
any James Bond films.
Yep.
Which is weird. I've been thinking about this a lot recently. Like, we only watch horror movies. We should really cover some other stuff. Not maybe on the podcast, but
I was
just
about
to
to say, do you want to expand the podcast?
in our free time, I should show you some other movies because
Yeah. You know what's crazy? So, okay,
your repertoire is so depressing.
I'm about to go on a rant on a holiday episode, so bear with me. I was talking to my dad the other day because I've been like going to his house and helping him out with some stuff recently, and we were like working on something. I think we were working on the truck, and he was up on it. We were just talking while he was doing something down there, and we were talking about movies, and he was like, "Yeah, have you seen like this movie?" I don't know why we were talking about Robin Williams for some reason. Oh, we were talking about Matt Damon.
But I love Robin Williams.
I also love Robin Williams. We were talking
Rest
about
in peace, man.
rest in peace. We were talking about Matt Damon, and then we were talking about Robin Williams. He was like, "Have you seen Good Will Hunting?" And I was like, "No."
Let me just put this out here. Robin Williams, very funny man, brought joy to a lot of people. He was really good at playing very troubled characters for some reason.
For some reason.
For
Who
some
knows why?
reason.
But my dad like shit all over me. He's like, "You never seen Good Will Hunting?" I went, "No." He went, "You got to watch more movies. You guys should watch it for the podcast." I said, "Brother, we don't watch movies like that for the
No,
podcast."
I feel like that sometimes too, because I'll name like super famous stuff, and you're like, I haven't seen it.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm used to it now. I'm like, oh yeah, Bob hasn't seen anything because like watching movies has never been, I think, culturally something that you do,
Mm-hmm.
and horror movies are now something you do for the podcast. And I think if we ever stopped the podcast, you'd continue to do it.
I think I would too, which is weird for me to say because I've never been into films before.
But I feel sometimes that I should be like, we need to have like a remedial lesson every week where I show you like important films that are not horror related, because it'll help you like genre wise with talking about stuff.
Maybe we do that at some point.
We probably should.
But
That's like extra time.
I was about to say when we have time. We'll never have time.
Anyways, next up we got the director, John Wright. He also directed Robot Overlords. Writers Kevin Lehane. He wrote one episode of Creeped Out in 2018. Budget's estimated at £4 million.
Okay.
Box office estimated at $427,000.
Holy fuck.
Now, that might sound really bad. I think this was like limited release direct-to-video kind of stuff.
Okay.
Like, I don't think this screened in theaters.
Okay.
Everything I found was like film festival stuff.
Okay.
So I don't think this was ever in theaters, which is why I don't think it has like an actual box office.
Okay.
Those numbers to me are indicative of film festival stuff.
Well, also, like, the reviews are good. People seem online who have watched it and reviewed it seem to like this movie.
No, I know, but like we've seen similar stuff with film festival, like limited release only movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Because for whatever reason, they count the box office from the film festivals.
Yeah, which is weird.
And I wish they would just go, oh, there's none.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, but it gives bad statistics.
Mm-hmm.
Country of origin, so it's an Irish film, but it's also a joint picture with the United Kingdom.
Okay.
Which obviously that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, they're right next to each other.
They're also, depending on what part of Ireland, kind of the same thing.
True.
I'm not going to give you the tagline right now.
Ooh. Okay.
Because I think it kind of gives some spoilers.
I'll try to remember to ask you after.
Yeah, but also, like, I don't think there was necessarily a lot of promotional material for this.
Okay.
And so the tagline I found is the one on a lot of the like Blu-ray DVD covers.
Oh, okay.
But it's a tagline based on the art.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like necessarily great. Aside from that, I don't really have any facts except for that this film premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in 2012.
Sundance. Okay. Now another aside on the podcast while we're here. I would love for us to go to something like that. Like, I know that's really expensive and like kind of hard to get into or whatever. But going to like a big film festival like that would be so fun for us.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, but it would be nice.
Like, oh, so cool. Because there's so many cool films that like premiere at film festivals that we could totally like see beforehand and be like, man, that's a good movie. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just like a horror kind of, what are they called? Convention.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is really cool, but it costs money and planning.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we could do it.
It would just be a pain. Okay. Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, see you guys in a minute. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We just finished watching Grabbers.
Yeah. What you think?
It was cool. Cool movie. It was a lot, I said at the start when you gave me the IMDb scores and stuff and everything that it was like, oh, good. Like, it has good reviews and stuff. It was better than I think the reviews set it out to be, even though they were still good.
No, yeah, it was still very good, but I think you're right. I definitely liked it better than the average 70%.
Yeah, like, I liked it more than that.
It was very good, and that's what I knew about it going in. So I knew the premise, and we'll get to that in a second, and I knew that it was good. I've heard people describe it as like just a great like Irish horror film, like one of the best ones. But I'd never seen it before, and yeah, I definitely agree. It was very fun. Like, we were laughing our asses off for most of the movie.
I think that was a big thing. Is like, with the title Grabbers, I was kind of terrified because, like, that sounds like it could be atrocious. Not atrocious, like scary, but it's very much a fun film, and I had a really good time watching it.
Yeah. With that being said, I think this is definitely one of those films where it benefits to go in completely blind.
For sure.
Because you didn't know anything about it.
No, I knew fuck all.
I avoided, I think, most things. So, go and watch it right now. Highly recommend.
It's on Shudder. That's where we watched it.
Yep. They just got added, like, this month.
Sick.
Which was really convenient. If you don't want to watch it there, I think it's available in a couple places for, like, rental or purchase, like YouTube and Amazon. Recommend. But on that note, though, I am going to get into a brief description. Let you know right now, that's going to kind of give some major spoilers for the plot. And I'm going to give a secondary note here that I'm going to mention some late movie spoilers in the description because I think they're important to understanding the premise of this movie. And also that those same spoilers, will not revealed until later in the movie, are given away almost immediately in the trailer for this film.
Really?
So, yeah, don't watch the trailer for this film either if you want to go in completely blind.
I hate trailers.
I do too. But it makes sense for what this movie is. But that being said, premise of this film is, first off, right off the bat, it's a creature feature.
Yeah.
It's one of the few, like, Irish creature features I know.
Super sick.
But the premise is there is a meteor that hits, like, the middle of the ocean, right off the shore of this small island in Ireland. It's called Erin. Erin, I believe is how they spell the name.
Yeah.
And inside the meteor, there's these creatures called grabbers. We'll describe them later, but they're called grabbers. That's who the first person who finds them.
That's what he calls them. It's what he names them.
He names them because he found them.
Yep.
But they're very interesting, and they are kind of like leeches. Like, they suck blood.
Yeah.
And all they need to live is blood and water. Because they got to stay wet, like frogs and amphibians. But they're also deathly allergic to alcohol.
What a horrible place to land.
And so, the movie is, people trying to figure out, okay, what's this thing that's killing people? And then once they figure that out, and they figure out, like, it's weak to alcohol, let's get fucking wasted.
Yep.
And that's the movie. Like I said, they do spoil that in the trailer, which makes sense because it is a funny premise of, we have to fight off an alien invasion while drunk.
It's hilarious.
So if that sounds good to you, go watch it. You're not going to have lost too much by knowing the premise going in.
No.
But I will say, they do
But it's a super fun reveal.
They do a great job of it. And I think that's the first point I want to make note of here is, I came into the movie knowing that alcohol was, like, its Achilles heel, right?
Yeah.
We get, 40 minutes into the film before it straight up goes, alcohol will kill this thing. And I was not expecting that.
No. I expected because most of the time when you go into, like, a movie or a movie about a creature or a monster, very early on they will establish some kind of weakness.
No, don't get me wrong. They hinted it.
They do hint at it. But it felt like a slow, rewarding thing for that to be the reveal.
Yeah.
Especially considering at the start of the film, and this is something that I thoroughly enjoy, the main character, who I can't remember his name.
O'Shea?
Is that his name?
That's his last name.
Okay. Well, he struggles with alcoholism, and it's like a big point of the movie. It's like he's drunk all the time. He has a bunch of problems to do with alcohol. And for alcohol to be the solution to this problem is super interesting, and it makes for a lot of weird character depth stuff that I did not expect from a creature feature.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just the point I'm trying to make is for me, it was really bizarre Because I thought you enjoyed the reveal.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
think
you were
it's cool.
surprised by it, even though they did some decent hints. They were subtle. But it was so weird for me because the thing I knew about this movie, like the selling point was drunk Irish people fight off alien invasion. And so the fact that that's only the back half of the movie was just so cool because I wasn't expecting what the front half of this movie is. And that is, like I said, a whole investigation thing.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about it during the movie, but it's very well done.
It's super cool.
They are like actually walking through some procedural stuff, doing like decent investigations, like they find a creature and they have to figure out what it is. And I think the real big benefit of all this investigation scenes is that it's really a good time to learn about all our characters and give depth. You know, the whole movie has a pretty small cast because it's set on this small island, so it's a small village, but it's during this whole investigation sequence that we get to meet like our band of characters. And I thought that was really helpful, not only for establishing what our creature's like, but for developing interpersonal relationships.
No, and that's a big part of what makes this film so fun and interesting and like enjoyable is, yeah, it's a creature feature, and when you come into a creature feature, you want monster. And the back half has plenty of monster, and I enjoyed it so much. But having all of this interpersonal stuff loaded in the front half makes all the monster stuff more poignant and like emotional because you care about these people because you spent so much time learning about them and getting to know like their habits. And then it uses all of their stuff that you've learned in the back half of the movie when they're fighting the creature to like do cool moments.
And more importantly, when they're drunk, and so a lot of the things that have been hidden about their personality start to come out. So I wasn't expecting that contrast of like no drunkenness at the beginning to drunkenness at the end. I thought it worked really, really well.
No, it's really, really cool because it's a slow progression.
Yeah. Always great to see. I just wasn't expecting it, and it was cool. It honestly reminded me, I know we haven't seen it on this podcast, but I was watching it last week, and I think I mentioned it. Kind of reminds me of Them, an old 50s horror movie. It's really good, but they have like a whole investigation sequence at the beginning before it's like full-on monster combat. And I do think that is a good way to do creature features like this.
Yeah, and I think another thing is the investigation portion is really actually well like paced out and done. Like I feel like in a lot of creature features, the investigation aspect is sort of thrown in there because they have to explain the creature somehow, and it feels sort of forced. In this, it's really natural and well done because A, it's a small island, so you're dealing with a lot of people who are very familiar with like the land and the territory. So they'll like one of the main characters, his name is Patty. He's a drunken old kooky man.
He is the island drunk, which is not a sentence I'm used to saying.
He's fantastic. I love Patty very much. He's super duper funny. But like they're talking about stuff and Patty goes, "Oh yeah, like I know this area of the island." Like they're talking about stuff on a map and he goes, "Oh yeah, this is over here. This might be what you're looking for."
And it helps that like our main characters are also like the cops of the island. Bob mentioned O'Shea's like an alcoholic. He's the actual cop for the island, and he's running it. Well, the sheriff is gone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the position would be in England.
I don't know.
And he's getting help from Off Island, who's like our female lead, and who's very uptight.
Super uptight.
But it's a nice contrast between the really like slovenly drunk cop and the super serious one. It's cool. I guess the last thing I want to mention with this whole investigation aspect, because I think it's a funny reference they make, but they reference Columbo.
They do.
During it. And if you are unfamiliar with Columbo, it's an old TV show from, the 70s?
I think so.
It's a detective show. And it has this really, really unique premise out of all detective shows. There's not really anything else like it, where at the beginning of Columbo, in the cold open, they would show the killer doing the murders, and then it was up to Columbo through the rest of the episode to figure out all the stuff that we've already seen. And I thought it was really cool that the film references Columbo, not only because it shows where this movie's from, it's from the UK and stuff, and Ireland, but also because that's kind of what the investigation sequences of this film feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
The characters have not really a good idea of how this creature acts, but we've more seen it because we've seen people like get killed by it. And so it's this nice sequence of like where we as the audience have already seen what the creature acts like, and we're like at the edge of our seats waiting for the characters to figure it out as well.
Yeah, it's super cool.
I don't know. I thought that was a nice little touch. And I think that's a good segue into the fact that this film feels really Irish.
Yeah, for sure. Tons of Irish colloquialisms that, like, I understood what they were talking about, but I'd never even heard before.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's some accent stuff. Some people have stronger accents than others.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part is they keep saying "feckin'"
Mm-hmm.
instead of "fucking," which was a lot of fun. But yeah, like Bob said, a lot of colloquial words that we don't use here.
Yeah, for sure.
And you could pick up on context, but it's like, I have never heard that
Yeah, I was like,
before.
I have never once heard someone say that, but I find it extremely funny usually.
So that was fun, and I think it added the nice little tinge this film needed to make it, like, just extra enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Because it really captured the spirit of the area they're in. And, I mean, obviously, like, me and Bob were laughing at people yelling, "Feck you," because that's funny for us, but I do want to note that a lot of the humor in this film comes from kind of a dry sense of, like, wit and humor.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, like, I mean, it's we in the States would call it, what, British humor? Where it's very, like, realistic and dry and a little depressing.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie's funny because of what the characters are saying, not because they're making, like, jokes.
Yeah, all of the, like, funny stuff is very real dialogue that you could see someone saying to someone else, and it makes me laugh because it's like the realism is what's funny, I guess.
Yeah, it's not this person like you'd see in more American stuff, like sitcoms and stuff, where someone will make a joke and then they'll pause and look at the camera, and that's not the humor that's in this.
No.
It's very much this woman's trying to awkwardly set up these two people that hate each other.
God.
And it's very funny because she's trying too hard. You know, that kind of stuff.
Or Patty and Brian's relationship. That shit, it makes me laugh every single time.
Brian's the pub owner on the one pub of the island. And
the one bar on the whole island.
Patty's the drunk of the island. So they have a very
love-hate
relationship. Yeah. So that's always fun. Aside from that, before we get into, I think the big thing I want to talk about for this movie, which is creature feature stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Really quick, want to make a short note on the fact that I think the character relationships are really good. We touched on that a little bit, but they do a surprising job of giving people depth.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
You don't expect O'Shea to have much, but he has a great arc throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Do you remember the woman's name?
Lisa.
Lisa also has a great arc. She starts really uptight and, like, just insufferable.
Yeah,
almost.
Very insufferable.
And it seems like that's going to be her character the whole movie, but they really, like, show that she's a real person.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice. Again, Patty, like a drunk, and you don't expect to be a real character, but he is. And that's kind of how I felt about everyone.
Yeah.
Is everyone feels like, I don't know, like cheesy character archetypes, but they actually gave them depth. And I thought that was really cool.
I mean, even Smith has a really good arc, too.
He's just a wiener. I was going to describe Smith. He's the local marine ecologist, and he's a wiener.
He is a wiener, but I think he gets better as the film goes on.
Yeah, because you realize there's more to him than just a wiener.
Yep.
He's maybe a wiener in a bun. A whole hot dog.
Yep.
Yeah, and then, again, other little things that the film did really well that I wasn't expecting. Like, there's some great shots.
Oh, this movie is so pretty.
Like, the whole island is just beautiful, but they do some really, really great framing sequences of characters, like backlit and stuff like that. I mean, Bob made fun of me because, like, there was an emotional scene at the end of the movie, and I was like, oh, look how pretty that is.
Yeah, and I was like, you don't care about the emotional thing that's happening?
I did, but look at the framing. So, yeah, just overall, like, lots of little stuff that I wasn't expecting to be worked on.
Yeah.
But came out very polished.
They do a really good job at giving us interesting camera angles, too. There's one specific scene I'm thinking of that I'm not going to explain. But let me put it this way. They use the POV of multiple people throughout the film, and it's extremely good. And it's really funny, usually.
Point being, it feels very professional for what is obviously, like, a small, essentially indie film.
Yeah, like, the production value is insane.
Which I know they had $4 million, but they stretched it far. This feels like a film that, if this was a Hollywood film, they would have spent so much more money to get the same effect.
Yep.
Which, again, same thing. Actors, really good acting.
Oh, man, it's so good.
For, like, most of them being
It's
smaller.
so funny.
With that being said, you okay to move on to The Creature?
Sure.
Okay. So, the best way I can describe the grabber is, to me, it kind of resembles like a starfish.
That's not bad.
Like, it's a central body that's a little round, and then just a metric shit ton of tentacles.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, obviously, when everyone thinks starfish, they either think Patrick Star or the classic, like, five.
I was gonna say Finding Nemo style starfish.
Yeah, the 5-finger ones. But, if you're into marine ecology and stuff like that, you'll know there's starfish with more tentacles. And
It reminds me of, what's that Pokemon?
isn't it like Starro or something?
No. What is that Pokemon? It deadass looks like that Pokemon.
I'm pulling it up.
Sorry, you mentioned I hadn't thought about it, and I'm like, oh my god, what is it? Is it No, my god, what Pokemon is that? I'm also gonna try and Google it now.
This one, right?
Oh, actually, that's a good one too, but that wasn't the one I was thinking of.
Anyways, it kind of looks like a starfish, and if you're into like marine ecology and biology and stuff, you'll know that there's some starfish that have like more than 5 hands, fingers,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call them, and that's kind of more reminiscent of what it looks like, especially because some of those have like thinner, more wiggly arms, kind of like brittle stars and stuff. So it kind of looks like that mixed with a octopus. Like the tentacles are all very cephalopod like, and a lot of them have tips that look like the tips of like the long limbs on a squid where they have the pads.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like this weird abomination between a squid and a starfish, and I love it. It's like super cool because it's this giant wreathing mass of tentacles that kind of looks like a ball of seaweed or snakes. But the fact that I just compared it to 2 actual marine organisms, for me, makes the creature really good because it feels like it's based in reality.
Yeah.
And I think that's always a great thing to have when you're talking about creatures. Bob showed me a picture of the Pokemon he's looking for. Kind of, but not really.
It looks like a Tangela.
From it far away.
From far away. But it looks more like the Omastar, which is the one you were showing me without a shell.
Yeah. But yeah, cool creature design.
Oh, it's so cool.
It also has this really, really fascinating ability where it can shoot out like a spike from its mouth,
Mm-hmm.
which is its tongue. They reference the tongue being like a frog's tongue. And it'll wrap around stuff and pull them in, and it sucks its blood with the tongue. I do want to note, though, that cephalopods do that, too.
I didn't know that.
Things like, I know it's especially notable for squids and like cuttlefish and stuff.
Okay.
I'm more familiar with cuttlefish and cuttlefish doing it. But like cuttlefish have like a eating tentacle and a mating tentacle.
Whoa.
And they like keep them like kind of in their mouth.
Huh.
And they'll shoot them out when they need to do stuff. The mating tentacle's weird. It fires like a ball of sperm.
Ugh.
Point aside, for me that kind of brought in more of the like actual biology stuff.
Mhm.
That made the creature just so much cooler. Additionally, we got to see like different life cycles of it.
Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to talk
There
about because
was-
that makes it so cool.
One really big creature, but then there was a bunch of babies.
Yeah, and I think it also mentions the fact that we see a female creature at one point in the film, and it's much smaller.
So there's sexual dimorphism.
Yeah, and the male creature is fucking massive.
I also think the male creature has way more tentacles.
Way more tentacles.
Like the female's small, but there's like a limited number of tentacles.
Yeah.
How big's the female? She's probably only the size of my torso.
I was going to say like a small dog.
Yeah, but the big one's...
Bigger than a car.
Oh, yeah.
Like gargantuan.
Like the size of a backhoe or something.
Bigger than a backhoe.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. But yeah, they have these little ones, too. The little babies, they hatch from these big eggs. Eggs are cool.
The eggs are
Always
really cool.
love eggs in a movie.
Yeah, look.
They gross Bob out, but
They're really
they were
gross.
cool. You could see the thing moving inside. It reminded me of the face hugger, like Overmorph eggs.
Yeah.
But the little ones, again, really fall into that, oh, this is very clearly based on real life.
Mhm.
They look like sea anemones.
Yeah, they do.
And, Bob, you're probably not as familiar with sea anemones as I am.
I've seen Finding Nemo.
Yes, but real sea anemones, they aren't plants. They're animals.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice in the film, these things kind of moved like slinkies, right?
A little bit.
That's kind of how a sea anemone moves in real life.
Oh, that's cool.
Actually, sea anemones can swim. Some of them can. They like flap their little flaps. They also have a mouth right in the center of
Yeah.
their little tentacles. Kind of like these creatures do.
Ugh.
Point being, I looked at it and I was like, oh my god, that's just a sea anemone. I don't know. I thought the whole creature design was rad.
The creature design is super cool.
And I think the big thing we haven't mentioned here is the fact that obviously it was all CGI.
Yeah.
For something with that many tentacles and stuff and this budget, you're not going to be doing that with practical effects.
You just couldn't. You couldn't afford it.
But I thought the CGI looked great.
The CGI looked really good for what, 2012?
Yeah, it's 2012. And obviously it's not perfect, but you have to understand, like, this is a creature with a lot of moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this film is dark,
Mm-hmm.
or at least not well lit, and the creature's covered in water, so its body has to be glistening. And it looked amazing.
Yeah. There are some really awesome shots of the creature, like, going places from far away, and it looks so cool.
Like, this film had everything against, like, the creature looking good from a
Mhm.
CGI perspective. Like, this
For
is
sure.
a hard thing to animate,
Yeah.
but it looked really good. Also, the creature rolls around. That's
I
funny.
didn't want to spoil that, but yeah, the male creature is so big and it has so many, so it literally rolls everywhere, and it's super funny. We haven't talked about this yet. The other thing that I think is really cool about the creature is there are certain scenes where the creature itself is practical because they're like analyzing it, and all of the practical stuff looks really good.
Oh, yeah, dead one.
Like a dead one. There's a point where Smith is like analyzing the creature because he's a marine ecologist, so he's like trying to basically figure out what it does, what it is.
It's like a rubber, I don't want to say puppet, but like just a giant piece of rubber.
Yeah, and he like reaches in and like pulls its tongue out and like shows it to them to like explain what it does. And all of the practical creature stuff is dope. I think it looks really nice.
There's also a cool sequence in there that I'll mention here. Going back to real life stuff, Smith touches its arm at one point, and he puts water on it to show that like really all the creature needs is water
Mm-hmm.
to like activate its cells, which there's a horrifying implication that says it basically can die and come back to life if you get it wet enough.
Yep.
But when he puts water on its arm, it like starts to freak out. Like it doesn't move, but did you see like all the white patches appear?
Mhm.
Again, you can look this up if you want. It kind of looks like the oscillating colors on a cephalopod's skin.
Oh.
'Cause
Okay.
The creature's one color, it's blue.
Yeah.
But there was like little white dots appearing, and that's exactly what like if you look very closely at like a cephalopod skin, like an octopus or something.
That's really cool.
Cool creature design.
Super dope. I was surprised by how good the creature was in this film.
Yeah, I think it's one of my favorite creatures we've seen.
It's so cool.
With that being said, though, that's kind of all I have on this film. Like,
Uh,
honestly.
I have a couple more. I have like 2 more things.
Okay.
I was kind of worried when we started this movie that it was going to be gross and like bloody or disgusting. This is a very clean film in terms of blood.
Yeah, there's not much. There's slime,
There's slime, so if slime gets you,
but slime is not the focus.
slime is not the focus.
It's very much like, oh, this thing's kind of mucusy, so when it is places, it kind of leaves.
Yeah, it
some-
leaves like slime, so it's part of the investigation stuff. But like, if you want to watch a creature feature where there's not a lot of blood or guts, go for it. This is one that I would recommend for that sort of thing. Like, I think it's pretty solid in that category, especially because like a lot of creature features are pretty bloody and gross because the creature is usually like animalistic and like tear shit apart. This thing is an animal, but it's not like when it kills you, it eats you whole. So there's no like gross shit left behind.
Yeah.
Usually. And the last thing, I think this movie does a really good job at something we haven't really talked about yet, but like building a sense of community on the island is a huge aspect of this film. And I think that's really pulled up by the fact that you go to quite a few places throughout the movie on the island.
Yeah.
You go to like the beach, there's like a cave, there's the bar,
There's a
There's-
couple small houses.
there's a couple houses you visit multiple times, there's a
work site.
a work site. The movie does a great job at taking you to these places to then bring them back around later in the film and make them relevant. And I think it's just so cool.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like we're experiencing this tight-knit community going through this tragedy all at the same time, with it being emphasized by everyone that you've seen on the island so far being in the bar at the end.
Yeah, everything felt weirdly small and interconnected, yet big enough that there was a lot to play with.
Yeah, and it was just really, really cool, and I really enjoyed that part of the film. I think it's my last thing.
Okay. On that note, though, I guess we get to do recommendations.
Yeah. If you want an alien invasion film, like alien creature crash lands on Earth
Okay.
film, this is a cool one. I like this one. I don't know if we've seen. I think the only one we've seen is Slither.
Yeah, I mean, that's a classic kind of trope.
Yeah, but I think this movie handles that trope really well and does a lot of cool stuff with it. If you're interested in sea creature films. This is not this is an Alien, first of all, but it is based on sea creature, like
It's reminiscent of
reminiscent of it. And I think that's a really cool thing.
Patty calls it a sea monster
Patty does call it a sea monster.
because the characters don't know it's from outer space.
Yeah.
They're just like, that's a fucked up fish.
Yep. If you want an Irish horror movie, this is a cool Irish horror movie. We haven't seen one on the show yet.
Better than Leprechaun.
Well, that's an American Irish horror movie.
Doesn't
That's
matter. It's
very
better
different.
than Leprechaun.
This is a really cool film for, like, it feels very Irish, and I think that's part of what really makes it entertaining and fun being an American. If you want a creature feature with, like, really good characters and good character drama, I liked all the characters. I think all the acting is really well done, and I think the fact that you get that in a creature feature is surprising and really entertaining. It was unexpected, and I enjoyed it. I think those are my recommendations.
Okay. For me, recommendations here are Irish horror film. I think this is a really good one. I've seen a couple, but this is probably one of my favorites. If you want a creature feature, obviously, it's the classic kind of like Alien Crash Lands on Earth style thing. Like Slither, like, I don't know, The Blob's also like that kind of too. So if that sounds good, it's a lot of fun. And then weirdly enough, if you want an ocean movie,
Yeah.
like this isn't a movie set on the ocean, but the ocean is always present, and the creature very much feels like Bob said, like a sea creature. So there's a little bit of a mix there. And maybe last point here is if you want some like just a fun movie,
Yeah, it's definitely just a fun movie.
one that just is good with friends,
Mm-hmm.
have a
For
couple
sure.
beers. Like we weren't really drinking during this movie, but I bet you this movie is so much fun with a bunch of friends, like
Oh, yeah.
drinking, because the characters are having fun, like getting sloshed. And it's one of those things where I was like, that would be so much fun to do right now. All right, Bob, rate it.
Okay. So, we said this at the top of this part of the episode. I think this is a better film than the ratings we're giving at like 70-ish%. And I think this movie is really, really fun. And I'm going to be real. It goes above and beyond all of my expectations for a film like this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I thought it was going to be stupid.
I thought it was going to be stupid too.
I don't know why you thought it was going to be stupid. You knew shit.
Well, just like from the open, I was like, this.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, oh, Patty's a fucking idiot. But Patty's very enjoyable and actually a very good character by the end of the movie.
Just running around with this shillelagh hidden shit.
I guess my point is I don't know how high up creature feature set in Ireland goes on my list. Like, I don't know how else to describe this movie, but I think the thing that makes it go above and beyond is, A, the characters are super good and well written and well plotted out in a way that I didn't expect from a creature feature. B, the creature feature part did not lack because they spent time with the characters. The creature was still fantastic and really well done and super cool. And C, the premise is incredibly funny and really well handled. Like, I feel like you could really lose a lot of emotional weight and stuff by just like having all these characters get really drunk and act stupid and be crazy because they're drinking. But they handle it in such an emotional and well thought out way that it actually adds a lot of depth to the film. So I don't think I can give it a 5 because
No, it's not perfect.
it's not perfect. It's not like,
It's not high art either.
it's not high art. It's not cinema masterpiece. But it's super fun and enjoyable. And I had a really, really good time watching it with Ben. And it's one of those films that like I could see myself going back to fairly often and rewatching because it's just,
It's a fun horror comedy.
yeah, it's just really, really good. So 4.5.
Okay.
I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of in that weird spot too where I'm like, I want to give this thing high, but I'm not sure how high I should give it.
Yeah.
And my thought process leads me to a 4. But I think because I was so surprised by this film, I have to give it a 4.5. I really wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. Like, I knew it was well received by some people, and I knew it was, like, fun and enjoyable. But they really do put a lot of depth that I didn't expect to be in this film into, like, the characterization and the story and the dialogue and stuff like that I think really gives it that extra oomph.
Mm-hmm.
So, 4.5. On that note, though, we're going to go to the outtakes.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of us losing our shit laughing.
This movie's
If,
funny.
if Bob includes them, because we lost it. However, before we do that, I'm going to do the tagline.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to ask.
'Cause
Thank
Bob
you for remembering.
Forgets to ask. All right, so there's 2 that I see on a lot of like cover art for stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first one is Final Call at the Bar,
Oh, that's so good.
which, if you know the whole drinking thing, is pretty nice. But the other one is I'll actually show this one to you.
Okay. That one's fucking stupid. It's stupid, but it's really good.
It's a beer glass filled with beer, and I want to note the beer glass has a picture of the grabber on it, one of the babies, inside like a glass like fire box,
Mhm.
and it says, "In case of alien attack, break glass, drink beer."
That's good.
I think is also pretty fun.
Yeah, those are both really good. Okay.
We'll see you in a bit.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in a minute. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the outtake section for this episode of Beware the Board. I hope you're enjoying our review of Grabber so far. I really like this movie. I think it's super duper fun, and I'm really glad we watched this rather than Leprechaun 2. But without further ado, let's get into the outtakes. This first clip is Ben and I realizing what kind of film this really is. Yeah, but this is from the Irish and not the Australians.
What do you think that is?
A comet.
From outer space.
Oh, fuck.
Huh.
No, bro.
Oh, that's so.
We're not doing this again.
That's so interesting.
Fuck off, Ben.
Don't worry, Bob. It's not an abduction movie.
No, it's a alien comes to planet movie,
Yeah.
which is nearly as bad.
Which means it's a creature feature, Bob.
This next clip is our reaction to seeing the grabbers grab someone for the very first time, and also me realizing something else about this movie. Was it a Wilhelm scream?
Yeah.
That was sick. Holy shit. That was cool. Wait a minute. So this is an alien movie and a scary ocean film? I can't do this. This is getting out of hand, Ben. You're really stacking my fears on top of one another at this point. This next clip is a short discussion about dead whales.
Dead whales? Yeah, you really would need equipment.
Yeah, you can't haul those bitches with your hands.
Or
bro.
I love the one time in Florida where they thought it would be a good idea to blow up whales with dynamite.
Yep. I was literally about to bring that up.
That is a solution. It was not a good one.
This next clip is my reaction to this film continuing to get worse for me.
Like overhunting and
Are
stuff.
those eggs?
Yeah.
Oh no. This movie can't keep doing this. It can't keep getting worse.
I didn't think this would be bad for you. The fact that it is very funny for me.
He's just. Oh, you touched its egg, moron. No, that's a nightmare, Ben. That's quite possibly the worst thing that could ever happen to me.
Yeah, I didn't think this movie would be that bad for you.
Getting dragged into the ocean by my ankles, screaming for my life.
And that sounds fun.
Brother.
Besides the dying part, like everything else seems fun. Except for the stand burns.
Ugh.
Sand burns suck.
This next clip is me fucking with Ben. Good God. I do like this crazy old man.
He's kooky.
He is kooky.
Bob, what movie is that?
Bob.
Bob!
Is that the thing?
Is that the thing?
Nah, I'm fucking with you. I know what movie that is.
What is it then?
It's Night of the Living Dead.
There you go.
I just thought I'd give you shit. Or fuck with you a little bit.
See, Bob, it's only fucking with me if it wasn't believable that you'd be dumb enough to get that wrong.
This next clip is our reaction to seeing the grabber for the very first time.
He looks like he should be on the front of a box of discount fish sticks.
That's a good point, Ben. Oh! That's what it fucking looks like?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, he killed it. He survived. He lives. Let's fucking go. Oh, God. Assuming that's like a baby. Like a small one. This next clip is our reaction to seeing the male grabber for the very first time. Oh my God.
It's a little big.
Holy fuck, it's big.
It's a little large.
This next clip is Ben and I having two very different opinions about the grabber. Oh, God, that is awful. That is so scary. Like, I actually dislike creatures like this so much.
I think it's kind of cute.
Brother. This next clip is Ben's description coming full circle. I can't believe they're using his alcoholism as a plot device.
Hey, Bob.
What?
What's an Irishman to do when faced with the monster they don't understand?
Oh, good God.
Drink.
This next clip is our reaction to the entire island getting plastered at the bar. Good God!
He was loading it up without her knowing.
Well, he's doing it on purpose.
Oh, Mammy's gonna be out like a light.
Holy shit!
God.
This next clip is our reaction to seeing the baby grabbers for the very first time.
Definitely hears it.
Cuts back to party. Cuts back to priest dancing with the bartender. Oh no! There are so many!
Okay, now they're really kind of cute.
Cute!
They look like sea anemones.
Hi everybody, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the outtakes. Do we have any announcements, Ben?
I hope not, because I can't think of anything. Just check us out, Fridays when our normal episodes come out.
Yeah.
As always, check us out wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever on the internet. We're also on YouTube, which not great for audio-only content, but is really great for showing us some support with, likes, subscriptions, stuff like that. It's really easy for us to see engagement that way. YouTube also has a couple cool tools that might be useful for you guys. There's a search button, which lets you search specific stuff. So if you're looking for like a movie we might have covered, that's a good way to do it, even if you don't want to watch it over on YouTube. There's also a bell button, which can notify you whenever we post something new. Like if we forget to let you know there's a Patty's Day episode, there you go. But the big thing with YouTube is it's one of the two main ways to communicate with us at. You can go in the comment section of a specific video if you want to talk to us about something specific in that episode, or you can go over to Twitter at BewareTheBoard and go heckle Bob. Call him like a feckin' gobshite or something. I don't know.
I know
Grab
you were
his
going with
attention.
that. See, that was a good one. That was good. Like Ben said, check us out on Twitter at BewareTheBoard. It's where we post updates about the show, information about the show. Basically, if there's anything you want to know about the show, it's on our Twitter. On Mondays, I post a spoilers post for that week's episode, which is a hidden movie cover that you can reveal so you can see what the movie is, so you can watch it before we do. So when you listen to the episodes, you don't get any spoilers, and we're being vague about stuff, you know what we're talking about. Then on Fridays, or whenever an episode goes live, I always post a link to the episode, so if you miss upload or when I don't something up, there's always a link on our Twitter. Last thing, check us out on TikTok and YouTube Shorts at BewareTheBoard. We do short-form content for the show, so if you like short-form content and enjoy the show, check us out there at BewareTheBoard on TikTok and on YouTube Shorts. Benjamin, I think that's it.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, see you guys next time.